We're going to speak today about our children, perhaps the most important thing in the world to talk about. This is what you told us when we asked you, what would you like to know about your child's education? I was taken aback that the number one interest of parents was, what can I do? What can I do to develop the talent of my child better? What can I do at home to help and teach better? Here are 9 thoughts I have for you. Number one, a lot of parents talk about the screen time problem, like we heard, restlessness in their children, not eating food at the right time, and discipline in a general sense. I think the most fundamental thing that we as parents can do is set the right culture at home. And certain things just have to happen. But setting a culture of self-discipline is very, very important. What I've observed is there are 3 ways people try to do this. One is to force children, which doesn't work. The moment you're not there, then that style goes away. The second is to negotiate with children or even bribe them. I will give you this, I will give you that if you do it. I'm not the biggest fan of that either. I think the third is you set a moral example yourself. As some parents told me that my own screen time usage is so high, how do I stop my child? I think it's very important that we set that example. And each home can have their own boundaries, that on the dinner table, no phones, no devices, or when you go to sleep next to the bedside, it's not so. It should be the exception and not the default. The biggest challenge with screen time or any of the disciplinary issues, that it's the default, it's not the exception. The second practice, which I think would be highly advisable for any parent, irrespective of your background and whether you like it or not, is a practice of reading with your children, especially when they're young. Whether it is reading along when you're really small with words and pictures, all the way to just sitting next to each other and reading. A culture of reading. The third thing is doing things together gives you a great insight. Let me share an example. So this is a class on friction that I'm teaching, and I'm doing a small experiment to show to the child. Take it out of the foil and wrap it in this clocky thing. It's a towel, kind of a rough towel. And I want your prediction now what will happen.
You'll have to make it more steep for it to stand.
You already know it. Okay, if the foil was 3 fingers high and the other one was 7 fingers, how tall would this have to be approximately?
8 or 9.
8 or 9, I think at least. See? Oh my god. I've almost. Oof. Look at the child. Oof. Finally.
And it was at least 10 minutes.
Can you see that? So this would be almost 9 fingers, I think. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So, okay, great. So you get the idea, right? Can you explain to me कि इसमें friction का क्या role था और gravity का क्या role था?
Gravity was trying to pull the coaster down, and friction was holding it. And there was more friction in the like when the towel was there, so the gravity wasn't able to pull it down so easily.
Doing things together and having conversations, and in the conversation, that's why I showed you the video now, the practice of asking your child, what do you think? Giving child the room and permission to think with their own ideas, super important. And finally, practice. Practice makes it perfect. Some children get it easy, some get it late. Some of us learn to bicycle on the first day or second day. Who cares whether it took 10 days or 1 day? What matters is, can you bicycle now? So regular practice is very important, and I think making sure that is happening in a disciplined manner. The question many of you asked in the poll, what is the way to develop or find out my child's talent? And the best framework I have seen on this. In this view, talent is where your critical thinking is. What this chart is trying to show us, that we are critical about some things. That means we know the difference between good and bad. We are sensitive to the difference. Some people have critical thinking about speaking the truth. If someone lies, they feel very upset. Some people have critical thinking about money. If the money is not counted right, they get very upset. Some people have critical thinking around measurement or scientific things. If people are inaccurate, they get very upset. Some people have critical thinking around music. Even one note or sur is off, they get very upset. So where is the critical thinking? What you're not critical about is maybe not your talent and not your strength. But critical thinking is not enough. The second thing is, are you active or passive? The opportunity for all our children is to be here, where we are able to identify one area where they are critical. How will you know whether they're critical? Watch them, see them in sport, see them in music, see them in math, and you will slowly know where the critical thinking competency or potential lies. And then is to encourage active participation. So, the strong recommendation to parents is encourage your children to be active and be attentive to where they have a critical point of view.
My child's area of interest or critical thinking is on drawing. So how can I balance interest like that with the kind of traditional English, math, science syllabus?
50-50. You cannot compromise on English, math, and science. I mean, this girl may become a rocket scientist, but even if you're becoming a plumber or a carpenter, in this day and age, your ability to read, write, do stuff ups the quality. So I think if you have to become an artist, great thing, dancer, great musician, great thing, sports person, great thing. But basics of English, math, science, and now may I say even computer science, essential.
How to help kids that are struggling with math or afraid of math.
There was another young girl, class 4, which I was teaching math to. And what I realized in this small exercise is the rush to apply the formula very quickly. If someone travels 100 meters in 20 seconds, how much would they travel in 80 seconds or 160 seconds? So, is without rushing to explain, without applying the algorithm, can you in very slow process break up to say logically, if 100 meters is 20 seconds, how much would 40 be? And then 60, and then we can get to a larger multiple and then say, oh, you can multiply by this number directly. So I would say breaking it up into steps and not letting this psychology set in, I am bad at mathematics. Just slow it down.
Well, because artificial AI and technology now can know everything. So is it really important to focus on, the basic English, math, and science if the computer can do the job for us?
I think the answer is, and it may seem like a very glib one, again 50-50, that you can rely on the machine to do half the job. And if you don't know how to use the machine, I think you're going to be very uncompetitive. What to write in the box is not something everybody naturally understands. And the quality of your input determines the output. So for children under supervision, if you're spending some time, it will be good. Running away from these tools is not easy. I think this technology has a lot of promise.
Someone said today's child does not take defeats positively. Do you have any advice for dealing with this and how to change this behavior?
Fantastic. Whoever said that, thank you. That we are overprotecting our children in real life and underprotecting them online. If my daughter or son was 8 today, I would be paranoid about whom they are connecting with on social media, who they are talking to, is there misuse, is there abuse, whatever else. But in the playground, it's okay to get a bit dirty, to even break a bone occasionally, hopefully not in a very dangerous way, to experience nature, to have dust under your nails. Of course, that has risks too, but none of us grew up and ended up doing the things we have without that. So I think that's a very profound point, that this so-called fragility comes from overprotection in the real world.